What up, my ghouls and goblins and my trade devils? Sensei Tutum here with another video for you. Going to jump into the video real quick here, but just wanted to extend this offer to you guys that I think is a great value. 31% off membership for educational members, code BOO. Educational only. I think it's a great value. I think that our educational price is a great value at all times. So anytime there's a discount, I think it's an amazing value, especially coming up because Sam's working on a new course and I'm also working on a new course. So don't want to dive too much into what those are right now, but they're basically really cool ideas, concepts that I think that you guys are going to dig into. Let's just say that mine is related to this series. Anyway, so moving on, I don't know how long this is good for. This doesn't say. Monty just gave me this thing to throw up. So sign up, boys and girls, ghouls and goblins. All right, so briefly what I'm going to do this week is jump into our trade from last week. We were stalking a trade from last week and talk about how it set up, how it didn't set up, etc. But then what's going on right now is there's a FIMX trading competition. And for Trade Devils has a team in it. I'm not part of the team. I don't have a FIMX account. And generally a trading competition it's not something for me because if you want to do well, you got to like trade the 2-minute chart. I mean, you got to degen out basically. And you guys know I like to work on the 1 hour, 4 hour daily. However, COVID life, things have worked out that I've been home basically since this competition started. By the way, no COVID in my immediate family. Don't worry. But anyway, So I've been able to stalk this closely for the guys. It would have been best if I just entered it because I've been killing it actually with the calls here. But you'll see. I mean, there's definitely been stops. One thing that stands out that I didn't get exactly right, or not even that I was a high probability, but that's the thing in these trading competitions, especially in the sideways shit. I mean, I don't have a lot of trading competition experience, but I imagine you want to catch every move, which I always say is a bad idea as a trader anyway. So basically you just have to trade like an idiot and go for every swing. At least that's the way I look at it. I look for high probability stuff, but that's my style. Some people want every swing and they do quite well with it. So not an idiot, take that back. Whatever works for you. Idiot if I were to do it. Let's put it that way. But in this sideways, I feel like I've been hitting it pretty good. But I'm just basically giving the weather report for the guys, and whatever they do with that information is up to them. So I want to go over that. I got a bunch of slides to go into that. And so this is probably going to get a little long. I was recording, it got too long, and I hit stop, and then I realized, it's going to be long. So you guys either like it or you don't like it. You ride with me or you don't. So briefly, we'll cover last week's trade. So last week we saw this setting up. We were down in here. In fact, I believe we were just bouncing at this low. And I mentioned how the only count that I could see here potentially was a leading diagonal, or it was unresolved corrective potentially. And that, that it wasn't super high quality setup, but we knew that we had an exhausting downward trend. And that basically if we were to break out of this downtrend trend line, in a clean 5, you're going to get at least, you're either going to have a 1 here if it's a clean 5 out, and then a B or 2, right? A or 1, and then B or 2, and then you go up for C or 3. Those are the best trades in Elliott. That's no secret, although it seems to be. If you look at Twitter, people don't really take advantage of those. In any event, I left you guys with the instruction that if you saw a super clean 5 wave break out of this and then a nice 3 wave off of it, then you have a pretty high quality setup. Now, it wouldn't be what is the dojo, Devil's Dojo, and little group I run here. Doesn't meet that requirements because, again, we have this is the established trend at the trading degree, right? So we're trading against that trend. So it's not exactly the highest with all those standards met. Now, we certainly didn't have a very clean 5 wave out. So you didn't get even the requirements that I gave you last week. However, I took this trade. And I simply took it because, and there's a lot to be, you're not sure of this because it's not super clear, but I saw 5 dominant swings. Now, I didn't think it was a motive wave. It could have potentially been like a diagonal or something, right? I didn't necessarily have it as that, but basically whether I saw it as an unresolved, right, corrective, if it's a corrective, because a corrective is never 5 swings. I was wrong. Happens a lot. Spoiler alert. It turned out to be that it was probably something like this. W, X, Y, right? So that's probably really what it was. But as I told you last week, with a leading diagonal, according to the book, you expect a deep retracement, right? Which we didn't get here. And what I almost told you guys, but I didn't, because I don't like to. This is my spin on the thing, and I don't like to give my spin out, just because everybody adapts things to their way of doing things, and I make very subtle changes based on markets, based on observations that I see all the time. And this is honestly in every market I see this, and let's call it the toot spin. But I mean, I'm not Wayne Gorman, the god of Elliott, by the way. I'm not Elliott. I'm not Prechter. I'm not Frost. Shit, I'm not even Trade Devil Sam. So, I just take this with a grain of salt. But basically, a leading diagonal, I often see, not often, but when you don't get your deep retracement, and you can't really use it to act on, but you can use it to know that, okay, I didn't get deep and I'm starting to go, I need to get in. You'll see a shallow. So the normal rule is not rule, but the normal guideline is a deep, sharp retracement after a leading diagonal, often underthrows the trend line, which we did here. And then you get an extended wave. So this is extended, right? My spin is that you'll sometimes get a sharp, shallow retracement and then an extended wave. In this case, it looks like we got that. So the way, again, I'm not going to worry about how long this is. Usually I would just gloss over this. The way that I take advantage of this toot rule, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, because I don't go outside. So many people try to put their own spin. I mean, you get the Neelys and the random Twitter scrubs of the world that have their own, I'll use this indicator because Elliott's weak in this area and I created this to sell you, or I don't like Elliott, so I made a thing where I can make 100,000 combinations nest within another. I always say whatever works for you, but what works for me is the standard theory with very slight adjustments. So the way that I act on this, and the only reason I would ever change anything is if I can make it actionable. I know that then I'm expecting an extended wave after, right? So if I make a new high, then I look to enter, right? So enter short here, something like that. That's just the way I do it. So if I see a super shallow retracement after a proposed leading diagonal, and then I go create a new price extreme, especially on some speed like this, then I know that I just want to hurry up and jump in that trend, because it could just take off like a rocket ship. Anyway, I did take this trade back here that we did not have the clean 5 wave, right? But we had this swing high at an unresolved, and we shot down to this 50 algos. We use that in Trade Devils, right? So when I saw it coming down, we were going to create a new low. I just went ahead and I didn't know we were going to create a low. I just went ahead and laddered up here at the 50. Got a partial fill, and then this was on Friday, and then we closed up in this area. And I don't take a trade. I'm certainly not going to take a trade like this into the weekend against the trend on the hourly. Yeah, I wouldn't take that into the weekend. So closed it out. Small winner. Big. I hate to tell you guys, trading is, at least the way it is for most, at least the way it is for me, I should say, is basically small win, break even, small loser, small win, small loser, and then finally you hit your big win, right? So you're just trying to minimize losses and hit the big ones, right? Get a nice 7-8-1 to risk reward after 5 small winners in a row that you didn't lose, and that's, to me, the way to best manage trades. And this is, for my style, very low quality entry. Not very low, but because I don't take very low, but it wasn't a great quality entry. So if it was super high, maybe I hold it through the weekend. Not the case here. Closed it out, and then again we will go down and get stopped. So that's that trade. But again, it didn't. What the requirements that I left you with last week, if you just watched the video, you wouldn't have been in, because you didn't get your super clear 5 wave out of here, right? And even if you did, proper risk to reward. And just to briefly touch on, if you're not trading equities, like I took this on the SPY, and it depends on your account size. The SPY, let's just jump over here real quick. So this is the SPY, right? So, and it pretty much follows the ES. Obviously it's going to be a little different. It's an ETF, and it's so it's not 24/5, etc. But I'll chart it on the ES and then I'll trade it over here depending on the situation. So it's only $343. Like if your account is only $2,000, you can trade this. I mean, what you would want to set a stop for, like what? I mean, $20 for 1% of your account. You can do that with this. I mean, you're moving price. Your stop's going to be like $1. So yeah, you can buy 20 shares. You lose $20. Stopped out. If your account's, let's just say you're a 1%. I'm not saying you should be a 1%. I'm not saying I'm a 1%, but let's just say you're 1%. If you got 10,000, then you buy 100 shares, 20,000, 200 shares for 1% loss, right? So on and so forth. It's so easy to trade this, right? In any event, moving on. And if you don't know what that means, you're probably going to want to see this series that I'm making on how to trade the Trade Devil's Way. So yeah, that's how that worked out. Small winner, and then it goes against us. That's trading. Okay. So basically, the rest of the video, what I want to focus on is that we've got this Fimex trading contest going on. And we've got a Trade Devils team in it. And I don't have a Fimex account, so I didn't join. And typically, I'm no expert at these trading competitions, but you got to dig in, and you got to kind of, by dig in, I mean you got to probably, take more risk than I think you should. Basically you need to practice kind of like a maniac. Things that I would never recommend to do stylistically, on a regular basis. You up your risk, try to catch every move, just things that I think are stupid. And if it works for you and that's your normal trading, by all means, don't take that to heart. It would be stupid for me to do that, especially with the way, because you have to mold your trading style to your life, right? And I'm usually on the hour plus, right? And so trading competition just wouldn't work for me in general. But I happen to be stuck at home because of a COVID situation. Nobody in my immediate family infected, so don't worry about that. But I've been able to basically give these guys updates all along the way, dig in the time frame with them, and then they take that information how they so choose. So I basically want to take you through, for the first few days of the competition, the updates I gave them. And I want you to, when you see the larger, I call this largest 4 hour, especially when I've been down on the 2 minute a lot for them. If you guys watched my Bitcoin Friday video like over a month ago, you know that I got a couple different macro counts. So you'll see a couple of these. I would ignore them. Don't worry about them at the moment. But basically opened up the competition with this. We had already been mooning, had an extension algo series. If you get this 50, then, this is a nice long opportunity. Spoiler alert, hasn't happened still. So just opened up with that. Okay, then we get down to the ditch in 2 minute time frame. We have price reacting at the same level high. This is so real quick. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on all this. Just so you know, the pillars of my trading style are support and resistance. Elliott Wave is the massive backbone. So you won't see Elliott Wave on a lot of these charts because I'm just not going to spend the time on a 2 minute chart to put the patterns down. But trust me, I see it there. And I feel like the guys in the trading competition know what I'm talking about, and they would see the patterns as well, but I could be wrong. So it's Elliott, geometry, algos, support and resistance. Basically my pillars. And that's the Trade Devil's pillars, really. So this one is just like a support and resistance and a geometry combination of trade. So basically we're testing this straight line and we're making higher lows. So generally that's good for a pop. I don't remember what I used to project this. I'm pretty sure we overshot it, but this was the first call. It was a perfect call. And then we look, actually it was a perfect call. Yeah, I really don't know can't remember what I used to project that, but anyway, and then it dies. So you had to have your take profit set. And if you're on the 2 minutes, that's the way you got to trade, because the shit can get away from you real quick. Then after that, didn't have this called, but then after that, we hit this median at a sell condition if you're a pitchfork trader. So notify the guys it's a sell condition. And then wait a second. Oh, these slides might be out of order, guys, so bear with me. Median here, sell condition. Oh yeah, here we go. And then so you'll just see that then we did come down and hit the 618 parallel of the larger fork, which also happened to coincide with the area of this algo entry, although it broke. But I think we were calling for take profit in this area. And not to mention, see this, really I've been using this line, the support resistance line, as a means of profits / entries along the way. So would have been out here. So we got that. And then I guess fast forward some. Yeah, I guess fast forward some, then we were doing basically the same plays we were doing here. Starting to test. So pop, and then even though we did technically on this pool go past 65, I guess I was using the outside of this fork and this algo as potential target. And you'll see that it did pop up here, but you can't see it all. I think we overshot it quite a bit, to be honest, but another one, money, and then it dies, I guess, right after? No, because this, oh, see, we're way out of order here. Dang it. Bear with me. Oh, you know what? I'm just missing stuff. I'm just missing updates. Oh, and I just deleted one. Okay, anyway, so we had the pop to here. And then again, it was another short condition at this. And I did have them updated on that. And we're on 2 medians. And we had the short condition. And then, boom, came down way through the support level here. That would have been the take profit. Yeah, I don't have those charts. I know I did that, though. It's hard to go back and find my conversations, especially on a 2-minute. So anyway, once we did come down here, and the assumption was that this is probably a 5 wave. We would expect to go up in at least 3, right? So whether this is 3 or 5, you would expect to go up in at least 3 to correct. So we already had this one, and then we come down, and I believe, we had algo targets here, but really we were using just a simple measured move to 618. The 1-to-1 would take you into the 50 and the 618 for the downside algo of this. So we were basically long off that to here, conservatively there, more aggressively there. At this point here, you've already, so the thing I deleted was probably before we had all this price action to show, but this was one possible take profit area. Then we get up, we're continuing up. I show that this looks like it's potentially exhausting, and we're coming up on this golden corner pocket, just, alerting everybody of that. And then we actually break through the golden corner pocket, but pitchfork trading, the rejection off the 100 parallel. All right, we're probably good to test this area, short to this area. We're even, I trade with algos, but certainly are not the end all be all, especially when we're in sideways shit, right? Because an algo is really like to get you into the trend. This is all sideways garbage. So we broke the algo. Wasn't scared to continue to hold the short, and then the short says at least to here, and then I said that this would be take profit area if we got a clean break of this. Initially, I said would be a re-enter short, and I said aggressively break of this would re-enter short, and then there's some downside targets I'll show. This shows that we made short side target, so that would have been take profit from me, and I'm fairly conservative, of course, you guys know that. Okay, then I show we broke this, but if there was an algo there, we broke this golden corner pocket, we broke the aggressive short target, and we're coming up on this resistance, right? So basically showing, all right guys, the short signals are there. Now we broke through here, and basically showing, all right, if you happen to miss this, if we come back, retest this area, good entry. I don't think we did. Now, there's a couple trigger lines in here for different, because there's obviously sideways, so multiple forks. This was basically the target that I was, I always look for a conservative target, especially in this slop. This was the original conservative target that we would be shooting for. So it's there. And then this would be this is obviously 1 hour, which is massive scale compared to what we were looking at. This was a more aggressive target, based on pitchfork trading. Then we break, and so I show that we broke, and that we're probably on the way to some downside targets, starting to put in confluences for things that might stop us along the way. We've got the Vegas line, And then we'll switch over. All right, now we had this other. This was the I think this was the primary target, or no. We had this. That was what we showed you on. This was the conservative target, but then we had at this point we had met this. We had multiple medians at that juncture. We had a sharp turn on the RSI, basically showing guys that, hey, this is probably a spot where we're going to bounce. Wasn't necessarily that you should long it, but just, if you're short, probably take your profit, right? And then we start to bounce. And now at this point, I'm saying, okay, I want to at least test these areas. So then if you're trading every freaking swing, which I would never tell you to do, you're long, right? You're long at this point to at least here, right? So just showing that we're on the way through, circling this for your target, and then obviously this would be where you would short again, showing that we're hitting some resistances. So if you were long, probably telling you to be out there if you're safe. Then to show that if we take this swing instead of the swing high, we reacted at that 618 but we're above this all important level. Now at this point, I guess essentially that short would have got stopped out. So at that point, then now we're looking long again. So we have this algo that looks like we have entry algo targets. Throw a possible Elliott count on there. Okay. And then skip that for now. Okay. Well then, okay. So we have that Elliott count on there, and then this would be the highest probability area for the fifth, if this were the count of an Elliott wave, right? Of a Elliott fifth wave, right? So we had that, especially after we showed this here, after we hit first take profit, but to show, hey, look, we got this. Go back. So there's that. So obviously this was a good trade at that point. Would have definitely had partially been out there, going for the 618 for the rest of it. And then I just went ahead and zoomed out for the 15 because we're getting it's funky, right? We've been, what's this pattern? What is a valid Elliott pattern? And at the time when I put this out, I said, not highly actionable, guys, so I got a little bit of Wyckoff tied with Elliott, and this was the only valid pattern that I could come up with, ending diagonal. Of course, it could have been a leading diagonal, but what is the context to make that make sense, right? So ending diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending expanding diagonal to be exact. And then to show on the 4-hour here how we have continuing multi-time frame divergences. Again, different count on this macro. I told you guys, if you guys watched that Bitcoin video from a month plus ago, you'll know I have multiple macro counts. And then this one again to show that, hey, there are more targets up here, but we have hit target 1. So we're getting pretty close. Oops. Let's see here. Go back to this guy. So here we are, present day, back to that ending diagonal. I won't talk too much about price action after, but basically it came out to perfect. 618, we did get a little bit past it, but hey, that happens. Now, to say that this was a highly actionable spot, even for me in degen mode, it wouldn't have been necessarily breaking this trend line. However, probably would have been. This happened overnight while I was sleeping. But I won't talk about too much more because it's an active competition. But you see the pattern; it's played out beautifully thus far. And of course we've got multiple updates after this, but it's too close to real time. So I doubt anybody stuck with me through all these updates. But hey, we're talking about trading and the way the market moves, and I guess this is I don't know. Hopefully you guys liked it. To me, these type of videos where I just drone on and on, I feel like nobody's into. So let me know in the comments. Did you like it? Did you hate it? If you hated it, what would you like to see more? Because we're talking about trading. This is certainly a style of trading that I just ran through that isn't for me, but competition style. I think that's the way you need to win, is capture every single move at ridiculous risk to reward, or I'm sorry, at ridiculous risk profiles. So just because that's just how you win it. You blow your little, whatever your little trading competition account is. You plan, you either blow it up or you blow it to the moon. So zero or 10,000x would be the way I play it. So, and that's the way that, I'm charting it for the guys. All right, boys. Hope you enjoy. Happy Halloween. Take advantage of, don't forget about this thing here, spooky deals, 31% off. And I'm going to be making a course based on how I trade, think the best high probability way to trade our method is, and walk you through to where you don't need to be an expert at any part of it that I think you can trade highly probable. Like, you don't have to be a purple belt in Elliott, or for all the other methods. You just need that basic algo, basic Elliott, basic pitchfork geometry, and basic support and resistance knowledge, which I'm going to teach you in that course. And I think it'll be a good one. So join up for that. All right, toot out.